Achievement thrives in quietude, not from a place of secrecy or mystique, but because it requires room and time to flourish. Success, like a seedling, starts silently, unseen beneath the surface. It doesn't broadcast its existence to the world. It doesn't seek validation or applause. It just works, consistently and quietly, until it finally breaks through, strong and visible for everyone to admire. Yet, so many of us feel an overwhelming urge to announce our intentions, detail our plans, and map out our journey for others. What is the reason for this? Perhaps it's a desire for acknowledgement or a need for approval. Perhaps it's the excitement of declaring, "Watch me, I'm on my way." But there's a catch. The more you verbalize your ambitions, the less fuel you reserve for their actual execution. It's a peculiar contradiction, isn't it? Oversharing can deplete the very momentum essential for success. Throughout my career in business and personal growth, I've witnessed this scenario repeat itself. Individuals with brilliant concepts and worthy goals, ideas with the potential to transform their lives, talk themselves out of the very journey they meant to begin. How? By telling too many people too early. They subject their aspirations to the harsh elements of skepticism, critique, and diversion. Before long, the passion that once burned so brightly has been extinguished. So, my goal today is to share the philosophy of holding your plans close, not as a matter of concealment, but as an act of wisdom. We will delve into fostering a mindset that prioritizes action over announcement, substance over showmanship, and accomplishments over accolades. Because when all is said and done, what truly counts isn't what you claim you will do, but what you have actually done. Holding your plans in confidence can be incredibly effective. Consider the delicate balance between intention and action. Each time you disclose your intentions, your objectives, your aspirations to others, you are releasing a small portion of that vital energy. You're giving away a spark from the fire that powers your efforts. In most situations, that fire is best kept contained, nurtured in the solitude of your own thoughts, rather than being unveiled to the world prematurely. One reason for this is straightforward. When you tell people your plans, you generate a false sense of achievement. You declare, "I'm launching a new venture," or "I plan to lose 20 pounds," and those around you offer nods and smiles, perhaps even a round of applause. It feels rewarding, that sensation of being supported and validated. But herein lies the trap. The brain can confuse that affirmation with actual accomplishment. You haven't taken any real steps yet, but you've already experienced a taste of the reward. And what follows? The drive to act wanes, the fire cools, and the dream that once felt so alive and full of potential begins to feel like a goal already reached in your mind. You settle into a state of complacency, and the real challenging work needed to bring that dream to life gets delayed. This is how aspirations perish, cradled by good intentions. Now, some may argue, isn't it beneficial to share your plans? Doesn't it create accountability? Indeed, accountability is valuable, but only with the right individuals and at the opportune moment. You see, not everyone who hears your plans will truly grasp them. Some will challenge your reasoning or question your capabilities. They may not voice it directly, but their doubt will linger in the atmosphere, casting a shadow over your ambitions. If you are not careful, that shadow can infiltrate your own mindset. Suddenly, you're reevaluating your decisions, wondering if they might be right, if your concept isn't as strong as you initially believed. Now, I'm not suggesting you should never share your ideas. That is not the message. The message is to share with discernment, with thought, and only when the timing is appropriate. You must safeguard your vision in its infancy, much like a horticulturist shields saplings from a sudden freeze. Share your plans with those who will help them grow, not those who will crush them. Find mentors or trusted friends who genuinely want you to thrive, but even with them, be concise with the details. Don't turn your ideas into a public display before they've had a chance to mature. There's another aspect to think about: the power of surprise. There is a unique strength in achieving the unexpected. in allowing your outcomes to be your statement. Picture this. You've been working diligently on a project for months, perhaps years. You've kept it under wraps, telling no one, outside of your inner circle. Then one day, you present it to the world. A finished creation, a realized goal, a brilliant success. The effect is exponentially greater than if you had been discussing it all along, dropping hints and sneak peeks. People will be astonished by what you have done because it appeared to come from nowhere. It serves as a potent reminder that deeds are always more compelling than words. Years back, I knew a young entrepreneur brimming with ideas and excitement, and he was eager to share them with everyone. At every chance, he would elaborate on his grand plans, what he would build, how successful he would become, and how his entire life would transform. People listened patiently, but as months passed with no progress, their skepticism grew. The more he spoke, the less they believed in him, and in the end, he lost faith in himself. Contrast this with another man I knew, a quiet landowner from the heartland. He envisioned transforming his modest family farm into a prosperous business, but rather than talking about his vision, he quietly set to work. He devoured books, studied successful agriculturalists, and discreetly applied new methods. He didn't broadcast his intentions, he let his accomplishments speak for him. And when it was time to sell his produce, he astounded everyone with the sheer quality and volume of his harvest. When people asked for his secret, he would just smile and reply, "By working when nobody was looking." You see, there is a profound lesson there. The less you speak, the more time and energy you have to act. The less you chase approval, the more confidence you cultivate within. And the less you reveal your plans prematurely, the greater control you maintain over your own story. This is not about being secretive, it's about being strategic. It's about understanding that your dreams are worthy of protection and that your actions will invariably resonate more loudly than your words. How many times have you discussed a goal with someone, only to feel your drive diminish shortly after? How many times have you allowed others' opinions to alter your course? These are critical questions, as they highlight the amount of power we surrender when we speak too early. But the good news is that you can reclaim that power. You can decide to concentrate on doing, to safeguard your dreams, and to let your achievements be your voice. The world is awash in noise, isn't it? Opinions, distractions, and unsolicited advice are everywhere. When you begin to share your dreams too openly, you are inviting that noise directly into your life. You are opening your doors to doubt, criticism, and even envy. These are the very forces that can derail the most well-thought-out plans if you are not vigilant. Just think, when you describe your grand vision to someone, how frequently do they react with genuine support and excitement? It happens sometimes, but more often, people respond with reservation, skepticism, or subtle discouragement. They might ask, "Are you certain that's a good idea?" Or, "That seems awfully risky," or, "I knew someone who failed at that." These remarks may appear innocuous, but they can sow seeds of doubt in your mind. And doubt is a potent force. It can spread rapidly and suffocate the very roots of your ambition. But it isn't just the skeptics you must be wary of. There are also the envious, those who resent your drive, because it highlights what they themselves have not achieved. They may not express it overtly, but their subtle negativity can be just as draining. And then you have the well-intentioned advisors, the people who genuinely wish to help, but ultimately confuse you with their contradictory views and unasked-for suggestions. All of this clamor can pull you away from your initial vision, leaving you feeling scattered and unsure. This is why discretion is such a formidable tool. When you keep your plans under wraps, you are shielding your focus. You are creating a quiet sanctuary where your ideas can develop, free from the interference of others. It's akin to building a greenhouse for your ambitions, a controlled environment where they can thrive until they are resilient enough to withstand the outside world. It is crucial to begin building momentum. Momentum is an invaluable asset. It's the forward thrust you generate by taking consistent, deliberate steps toward your goals. And here is the secret. Momentum flourishes in silence. When you are focused on performing the work rather than discussing the work, you establish a rhythm. Each small step taken reinforces the next, and soon enough you've made substantial headway. But when you begin to talk about your plans too early, you break that rhythm. You shift your attention from action to articulation, from doing to defending. Every moment spent explaining your vision is a moment you are not advancing. It's like trying to drive a car while constantly pulling over to show others your map. You lose your speed, and more importantly, you lose the sense of purpose, ooze, that comes with continuous motion. I want to share another anecdote with you, one that highlights the power of momentum and discretion. A colleague of mine decided to write a novel. It was a lifelong dream, and he was committed to seeing it through. But instead of broadcasting his intentions, he quietly committed to writing 500 words each day, every single day, until the book was complete. He told no one what he was doing, not even his closest confidants. He simply worked, day in and day out, in silence. Months later, he finally shared his work with a small, trusted group. Their response was one of pure awe. They were astonished by his accomplishment, not only because the novel was excellent, but because he had done it all without chasing the spotlight or needing validation. And when the book was finally published, it became a success, not due to any grand promotion, but because the work itself was its own testament. Now, allow me to tell you about another friend, someone who was just as passionate about writing. But instead of starting, he spent months talking about his plans. He would call with progress reports, share detailed outlines, and solicit opinions on every minor detail. The more he talked, the less he actually wrote, and eventually, the entire project lost its steam. Why? Because he exhausted all his energy pursuing approval instead of generating momentum. There is a potent lesson in these two examples. Action fosters confidence, whereas excessive talk fosters indecision. When you take consistent action, even in small increments, you prove your own capability to yourself. You build a history of achievement, a sense of progress that fuels your journey. But when you talk too much, you remain stuck in the world of potential, of what could be or what might be, without ever making the leap to reality. Here is the thing. Some people are concerned that keeping their plans private might make them appear secretive or distant. But the reality is that discretion isn't about excluding people. It's about protecting your focus. It's about acknowledging that your dreams are valuable and that not everyone has earned a front-row seat to your process. Think of it like this. When you plant a garden, you don't invite the entire neighborhood to trample the soil before the seeds have even germinated. You safeguard the ground, you water it diligently, and you wait for the first sprouts to emerge. Only then do you invite others to appreciate the results of your effort. The same principle holds true for your goals. By keeping them private, you are not being secretive. You are being strategic. You are allowing yourself the space to develop, to learn, and to adjust without the weight of outside expectations. And when the time is right to share your success, it will be that much more meaningful because it is supported by tangible results. So here is a challenge for you. The next time you establish a goal, fight the urge to broadcast it. Instead, redirect that energy into action. Document it, devise a plan, and take that first step, quietly, intentionally, and with complete focus. Remember, the objective is not to impress others with what you intend to do. It is to impress yourself with what you can accomplish. There is something profoundly liberating in moving with discretion. It unburdens you from the weight of external expectations and enables you to function on your own terms. Consider this. When you announce your ambitions to everyone, you are voluntarily stepping into a spotlight. Instantly, people are observing, anticipating, and perhaps even judging your every move. That pressure can be suffocating, particularly in the initial phases of a project when there is still much uncertainty and flux. You see, success is seldom a linear path. It is a journey marked by trial and error, of advancing 2 steps and retreating 1. When you are under public scrutiny, those setbacks can feel amplified. Every mistake becomes a potential point of criticism, and every delay a reason for doubt. But when you keep your plans private, you afford yourself the freedom to fail in obscurity, to learn from your missteps without the added pressure of external opinions. This is why discretion is more than a strategy. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is a method of creating a protected space where you can experiment, evolve, and perfect your ideas without interference. And here is the wonderful thing. When you are not constantly seeking approval or validation, you become more attuned to your own instincts. You begin to trust yourself more, to rely on your own judgment rather than on the views of others. I know what you might be thinking. Isn't feedback crucial? Don't I need input to improve my ideas? The answer is yes, feedback is indispensable, but it must be sought at the right time and from the right people. Not everyone is equipped to provide you with constructive input, and not every phase of your journey is the right time to solicit it. Early on, when your vision is just beginning to form, it is better to concentrate on the work itself. Once you have made tangible progress, once you have built something concrete, that is the moment to invite feedback from individuals you trust and respect. I once worked with a man who was exceptionally skilled at identifying opportunities. He had a gift for seeing potential where others saw none. But he possessed one critical flaw. He could not resist talking about his ideas. Every time he conceived of a new concept, he would rush to share it with anyone who would listen. And what was the result? More often than not, someone else would act on his idea before he did. He squandered his advantage by revealing his hand too early. Contrast that with another businessman I knew, a quiet, humble man who seldom spoke about his current projects. He wasn't flashy or boastful, but he possessed a remarkable talent for execution. While others were busy talking, he was busy building. And when he finally revealed his work, it was always impressive, well-conceived, polished, and ready for the world. He had no need to announce his intentions, because his accomplishments spoke more powerfully than any words ever could. This leads us to another fundamental principle. Your results are your most effective advertisement. When you achieve something noteworthy, people will notice without you needing to say anything. Your success will naturally draw attention, and that attention will be far more significant than any you could have garnered by talking about your plans in advance. Think of it as a ripple effect. Your actions generate waves that travel far and wide, impacting people in ways that mere words cannot. But there is another reason to maintain privacy around your plans, one that is frequently missed. It relates to the power of focus. When you share your plans with others, you are not only giving away energy, but you are also inviting distractions. People will begin to ask questions, offer suggestions, and share their own ideas, which can pull you in numerous different directions. Before you realize it, you have lost track of your original objective, and your once clear vision has become clouded. Focus is one of the most valuable resources at your disposal. It is what enables you to direct all your energy toward a single point, to cut through the noise, and to make real progress. And the most effective way to protect your focus is to limit the number of people who have access to your plans. The fewer voices in your ear, the easier it is to stay your course. What would it look like if you were to apply this principle in your own life? Imagine embarking on a new project, a business, a creative work, a personal goal, and telling no one about it. Imagine working quietly and consistently without seeking validation or approval. What might you achieve in that space of silence? How much further could you go without the burden of external expectations? This is the core of what we are discussing today. The freedom to work on your own terms, the power to let your actions speak louder than your words, and the wisdom to protect your dreams until they are ready to be shared. It is not about being secretive or distant. It is about being intentional. It is about recognizing that your energy, your focus, and your momentum are too precious to be squandered on idle talk. And when the time comes to unveil what you have been working on, when the results are there for everyone to see, you will find that your success has a weight and a substance that words alone could never capture. You will have the deep satisfaction of knowing that you did not just talk about your dreams, you brought them into reality. So, the concept of keeping your plans private is not about secrecy or concealment. It is about appreciating the value of your energy and focus. It is about protecting the delicate beginnings of your dreams, nurturing them in silence until they are strong enough to stand on their own. It is about acknowledging that action is infinitely more powerful than words, and that results speak louder than any proclamation ever could. When you decide to keep your plans to yourself, you are making a declaration, not to the world, but to yourself. You are affirming, "I trust my own ability to see this through. I do not need applause to begin, and I do not need permission to chase my goals." That type of self-reliance is uncommon, and it is incredibly potent. It grants you the freedom to act without fear, to learn from your mistakes without judgment, and to develop at your own pace. And here is the wonderful part. When you do succeed, you will inspire others, not by what you said you were going to do, but by what you have actually done. Your actions will serve as a beacon, a reminder to others that true progress stems from focus, discipline, and quiet persistence. You will demonstrate to them that it is not about how loudly you state your intentions, but about how steadfastly you work toward them. So, as you go forward from this moment, I challenge you to adopt this philosophy. The next time you set a goal, resist the impulse to announce it. Instead, write it down, formulate a plan, and get to work. Let your actions be your voice, and let your results be your evidence. Trust that when the moment is right, the world will take notice, and when it does, it will be because you have earned it. Remember, success has no need to shout. It does not require a spotlight or a stage. It grows silently, steadily, in those quiet moments when no one else is watching. So, guard your dreams, nurture your focus, and let your actions speak for themselves. That is the path to authentic success, and it is a path worth traveling.